Honourable President of the European Parliament, esteemed members, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to President Roberta Metsola, the members of the European Parliament, the groups. It is a particularly emotion for me to do so in this chamber, once chaired by David Sassoli. The last time I spoke from this very place was to commemorate him some days after his death. His legacy and his commitment to European values continues to guide and inspire all of us. I must also express my deep gratitude to those who commissioned this report and entrusted me with the responsibility to undertake it, the Belgian and Spanish presidency of the Council of the European Union, along with the President of the Commission and the President of the European Council. It is a great honour for me to be here today, especially after a year of engaging with the European Parliament, more than 20 meetings, groups, committees, the IMCO committee in particular, subcommittees, fostering meaningful dialogue and collaboration. This is a decisive moment for the life of the report. The pragmatic proposals it contains can only make a real impact if this very chamber embraces and advances them. This report is not mine. I bear full responsibility for it, of course, but above all, it is the result of a collective exercise developed during a journey that spanned almost the entire European Union, reaching out also to candidate countries for accession and non-EU countries that share with us the single market. Throughout this journey across Europe, I visited 65 cities and took part in over 400 meetings. I engaged open dialogue with all stakeholders, social dialogue. This was not an ideological pursuit, but a pragmatic endeavour. I travelled across Europe and engaged with all stakeholders to find common ground for tangible solutions. And there is one thing I want to stress out here. All the proposals contained in the report do not require treaty changes. They are very concrete and can be implemented immediately. Madame la Présidente, par cette méthode, j'ai cherché à honorer l'esprit même du projet d'intégration européenne, un projet qui s'épanouit dans le dialogue entre les grands et les petits pays, entre les grandes villes et les petites communes, entre des modèles divers de relations industrielles ainsi qu'entre différentes cultures et histoires. C'était la vision de Jacques Delors, à la mémoire duquel ce rapport est dédié. Jacques Delors visait à poser une base solide sur laquelle les grands idéaux européens pourraient prospérer et reconnaissait que la passion seule ne pouvait bâtir l'Europe. Il fallait des projets pragmatiques qui améliorent concrètement la vie des citoyens. Delors croyait fermement que le succès de l'intégration européenne ne se mesurait pas à l'aune des bénéfices pour les États, mais à l'amélioration de la vie des citoyens. C'est cette approche que j'ai poursuivie et qui m'a inspiré en rédigeant ce rapport. The single market has been our greatest achievement. It has fueled prosperity and it embodies our values. But it was born in a very different era, an era in which both the European Union and the world were smaller, simpler and far less interconnected. More than 20 years ago, we succeeded in integrating our currencies. We created the euro. We integrated this critical dimension which carries important emotional and practical significance for our citizens. However, we have not achieved the same level of integration in other key strategic sectors that paradoxically would have been far less difficult to integrate. Sectors that are now vital for the future of the European economy. In particular, at the inception, 3 sectors were deliberately kept outside the single market, considered too strategic to extend beyond national borders: finance, electronic communications and energy. In reality, when it comes to these issues, Europe is merely a geographical expression. We are 27, not one, on telecommunication. We have 27 financial markets, not one financial market. The exclusion of these sectors from the completion of the single market was motivated by the belief at that time that domestic control would better serve strategic interests. In an increasingly interconnected world and a vastly larger global market, the national dimension is no longer sufficient. It is becoming a ceiling in these sectors. We need to address this paradox, which is one of the main drivers of the current gap with other global powers. And we must act now. Inertia or inaction on this front risks reducing our choices to a single question: whether we want to become a colony of the United States or of China in 10 years' time. Telecommunications, energy, financial markets must be integrated, as we did for the euro. The integration of these sectors is a precondition for our competitiveness and security. There can be no security without independence in connectivity, energy and finance. In the report, I propose a roadmap for telecommunications to move from 27 separate markets to one, from the approximately 80 operators of today to 10, 20 operators. I'm not suggesting that we mimic the American or Chinese models here in Europe. These models do not adequately protect consumers, as we aim to do in the European Union. But with a single telecom market, 10, 20 operators can compete while ensuring consumer protection. At the same time, they will be larger and stronger on the global stage. That is what is not happening today with the fragmentation in 27 different markets. For energy, the key mission is to invest in interconnections. We must reduce the energy prices in Europe, and the only way is to maximise the diversification of energy sources through a highly interconnected European system. We win through cooperation, not through fragmentation. However, the most important sector to integrate is the financial one, which is in reality today the sum of 27 separate financial markets. This fragmentation is a major factor in Europe's loss of competitiveness, creating the paradox of having a single currency, the euro, without a fully integrated financial market. We are falling behind the US, which has surged ahead in this sector over the last 15 years. And we are paying a steep price for it. Without a unified financial system, we will be unable to create a new paradigm for economic development, unable to innovate and unable to ensure our security. Having unified and significantly larger financial markets will allow Europe to invest in innovation and support its real economy. It would also enable Europe to effectively finance the Green Deal. During my journey, one topic has emerged as a priority everywhere: how to support and finance the just, green and digital transition. Let's be very clear. The Green Deal remains the top priority for the coming years. It is no longer a question of whether Europe will pursue it, but rather than how it will be achieved. The legislative term began with a debate on how to approach the Green Deal. In the report, I propose solutions for implementing it that reduce the potential social and economic consequences for Europe. We cannot allow the Green Deal to become a luxury that only the wealthy can afford in our societies. The social and economic dimensions of the Green Deal are essential. If we are committed to this, we must also clearly outline how we intend to finance it. Otherwise, we risk engaging in an unrealistic declaration of intent. Without a concrete plan on how to finance it, political backlash and delays are inevitable, outcomes that neither the EU nor the planet can afford. That is why all our energy must be focused on financially supporting the transition. We need an innovative set of tools that can leverage both public and private financing, as both are crucial to meet our massive investment needs. There are differing views within the European Union on how to address this funding challenge. We have to be honest. There are often opposing views on this matter. It makes no sense to ignore or hide these differences. But I firmly believe that the single market is not only a fundamental tool, but also the common ground where these diverse positions can converge. The initial priority should be to mobilise private capital, where the EU lags behind and has enormous untapped potential. Let me offer two clear and significant examples. Each year, 300 billion of European savings cross the Atlantic to fuel the American financial markets and their real economy. This happens because our financial markets, fragmented as they are unable to absorb these resources. But the effect is a paradox. This money ultimately strengthens American companies, which then return to Europe to buy our European companies with our European savers' money. We need a change in mindset. The current lack of integration on Europe's financial markets is unacceptable. Take also the case of international payment systems. Every day, each of us makes several credit or debit card transactions. Billions of transactions in total. Yet, Italians aren't happy using a French system. The French aren't happy using a German system. The Germans aren't happy to use a Spanish one. As a result, we all end up being happy to rely on an American system. This example alone highlights the inefficiency of our fragmented approach. We have to be pragmatic, not ideological. The fragmentation of Europe's financial markets plays directly into the hands of other global players, keeping Wall Street and China satisfied and very happy. And this is why in the report I proposed the creation of the Savings and Investments Union, building on the incomplete Capital Markets Union. By fully integrating financial markets, the Savings and Investments Union aims to close the gap in a sector where we have enormous potential and provide a concrete tool to finance our ambitions. What I want to emphasise is the importance of forging a strong link between the fair, green and digital transition and the financial integration of the single market. One of the main reasons the Capital Markets Union failed to succeed is that it was seen as an end in itself. True financial market integration in Europe will only be achieved when both citizens and policymakers recognise that this integration is not just beneficial for the financial sector, but it is essential for achieving broader, more critical goals such as the fair, green and digital transition. Ultimately, progress in the area of private investments will enable us to tackle the role, structures and regulations governing public investments. As I have noted, this is a divisive issue, but it is essential that we confront it openly. Closing the current gap in private investments is a critical first step in moving this debate forward. The massive investments needs of the European Union require both private and public sources of funding. We must strike a balance between different sensibilities and pave the way for a more constructive, integrated and efficient funding strategy. This also extends to the debate on state aid. In the report, I have presented some ideas to overcome the current impasse. We need new solutions that can swiftly mobilise targeted national public support for industry, while also preventing fragmentation of the single market and ensuring a level playing field. Combining private resources and public investments, considering various instruments, is the only way to achieve a compromise in this chamber and within the European Council. Finance, energy and telecommunications are interconnected and serve as critical boosts within a broader concept of security. However, the current geopolitical situation compels us to accelerate the strengthening of our common defence capabilities. Greater integration within our common market can serve as a pivotal tool to overcome existing duplications and inefficiencies, yet substantial investments are required. We need to act on this front, and we must do swiftly in order to preserve a crucial level of autonomy in our foreign, security and defence policy. The EU must continue its unwavering support for Ukraine in its fights for freedom, while also striving to play a pivotal role in ending the conflict in the Middle East. Both are essential steps towards securing long-term peace and stability. To address this significant challenge, we must consider innovative financing mechanisms here as well. In the report, I propose several options, but I believe, and I want to underline here, the most pragmatic and impactful approach involves the use of the ESM, European Stability Mechanism. On the consequences of fragmentation and the lack of unity in key sectors is the difficulty we are facing in terms of innovation. The EU has not yet developed a robust industry capable of harnessing the benefits of the new wave of technological advancements. As a result, we have become increasingly reliant on external technologies that are now critical to European companies. It is essential that we unlock the full potential of the single market, and to do so, we need to leverage our unexploited common strength in research and development. The single market, as we know, was built on 4 fundamental freedoms: the free movement of goods, services, capital and people. However, this structure is outdated and too closely aligned with the 20th century vision. I believe something is missing in today's complex and dynamic environment, something intangible yet vital. The economy of the future will be driven by innovation, knowledge and tangible assets, a dimension that is vital to our progress. In the report, I argue for the addition of a 5th freedom, one that encompasses a range of essential fields: research, data, skills, knowledge, education. This is possible within the framework of the existing treaties, as demonstrated in the report. This new 5th freedom will not just be about facilitating the movement of research and innovation outputs. It will embed the drivers of research and innovation at the heart of the single market. With this framework, the EU will not only better position itself as a global leader in setting ethical standards for innovation, but also as a creator and pioneer of new technologies. The EU's ability to innovate depends also on creating an ecosystem where businesses can thrive. This is why the simplification of the single market rules is a central theme. It is a topic that I have heard repeatedly during my travels. However, when we speak of simplification too frequently, these words are not followed by concrete, actionable proposals. In the report, I present 2 pragmatic proposals to significantly ease businesses' access to the benefits of the single market. The first proposal is that EU institutions should unequivocally prioritise the use of regulations over directives when setting single market rules. This would reduce uncertainty and eliminate barriers. The second proposal is the idea of the 28th regime to operate within the single market, a virtual 28th state that companies could choose for smoother, more practical operation at European level. Both these proposals cover regulatory aspects that help to reduce bureaucracy without in any way undermining social standards, on which we do not want to see any race to the bottom. I'm very happy to speak on behalf and in front of the Commissioner on these topics. I conclude, Madam President. Jacques Delors always insisted on the crucial point of the importance of a single market with convergence, and the success of the single market is fundamental. So if we add to the freedom to move, the freedom to stay. The freedom to stay is fundamental for the people who want to stay in their own regions, with the idea to be allowed to grow up there and to have services of general interest across all the EU regions, also in the peripheric regions. My conclusion: President von der Leyen's decision to outline an ambitious plan for reform and relaunch of the European project, drawing on some of these ideas from both my report and that of Mario Draghi, opens a window of opportunity we cannot afford to miss. In a time when divisions among us, between countries, political parties and populations are growing, I stand before you to affirm that the single market is what keeps us united. We must rally around it and remain firm in our commitment to the relaunch and completion of the single market. The question before us is clear. If not now, when? Now more than ever, we must defend, strengthen and relaunch the single market. I hope that with all these arguments, I have convinced you that, as I wrote in the title of my report, the single market is really much more than a market. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Letta.